Alrighty, so next we will move on to creating the API endpoints for the WebAuthn user registration and authentications. So we'll start with the user registration first. So before we get started on creating the API endpoint, we need to create a route group. So let me show you how to get that started. First, let me just get this going. All right, so we'll have it be called auth session routes, and we'll have it grouped user session authenticator. Okay, so just to go over what this is. So in Vapor, they use something called a middleware that processes HTTP requests and responses, and they use, for this one specifically, we're using within the user, we're using something called session authenticator, which is a type of authenticator, right? And the authenticator is a middleware that is used to manage user sessions. So this specific middleware is used for authentication and associating user data with a session. So anytime a user is authenticated and logged in, when they perform CRUD operations with these post or GET requests, they recognize the user that's using it and only identify the user's data to update based on the user. So it's a way of managing the users in a easier way for Vapor than to just constantly having to authenticate the user anytime these HTTP requests are done. All right. So next, when we do create the endpoints after this, we'll do an auth, instead of app.get, we'll do an auth session routes.get. All right. So we'll start off with the registration, right? So we'll call this SIGNUP on the method, and then it's autocomplete right here. Request in returns a response. Okay. All right. So first, we'll start with the query parameters. So for our user, we'll do username first, and then we'll have to do a try on a request query .get, and then let's see. Actually, we need to declare the type. So string.self, and then at, and then put username. So this would be the parameter for the username. Okay, and then next we'll have the password. Actually, no, we don't need the password yet. We just need the username for WebAuthn. So next we'll do a gar statement. So we'll put a gar statement to query the database to see if there are any usernames with the following that's given by the user, so we don't have any duplicates. So we'll put a gar statement, so gar try await, and then on user, we'll query that on the database, and then check if there are on the the first result, make sure that's nil. So checking if that there are no users, else we will throw an error, and type will be conflict. So this will return a conflict error on a response if the username is already taken. Okay, all right, so we have that on the GART statement. We still need to return a response. So once the user, or once this checks that there are no username there, that's a duplicate, we will have the user created on the database. So we'll create an instance of user with username, okay, and then we will then try to create the user on database. So, all right. And then once the user successfully creates the, it's created on the user on the database, we will log in the user. Okay, and reason why we need to log in the user is because we will need since an instance of the user later on when we create the WebAuthn credential. So once everything goes successfully for all this, we will actually return a response, or actually not return, we return not response, but we actually need to redirect. Okay, so we will need to redirect the user to another API endpoint, which we will call make credentials, and we will go over that after that. So most importantly, we just get this first get API endpoint started, and we will move on to the make credential get endpoint after this.